So, with all the talk about 10th edition, I wanted to make this video looking forward to possible new armies that we may get. Now, if you look back at 8th edition and this current edition of 9th edition, we've always had new stuff added in terms of armies. 8th edition, we got the Death Guard, the Primaris introduced, a bunch of other stuff as well. 9th edition, Leagues of Votann, you know, there were Sisters in there, everything like that. You know, you could possibly argue like the Black Templars being added, add-ons to the Orcs with the Beast Snaggers, the Eldar stuff that kind of got redone. These are all new stuff that got added. So the purpose of this video is basically looking forward now and trying to see what potentially is coming with some of the rumours, with some of the fan theories, with just some of the hints that we've had from Games Workshop itself. So let's jump in and let's get talking. Now, if you're a Chaos player, you're going to love this part of the video because we are going to be talking a lot about Chaos. I'm going to put chapters on the video, so if you just want to skip to certain bits, then you're free to do so. But this bit, of course, is dedicated to Chaos because I think Chaos basically has the biggest potential of adding new armies to 10th edition. And I'm going to start with the biggest one. This is what I've heard rumours about, and it's Emperor's Children. Now, if you look at Warhammer 40,000 as a product, it is logical. It's the most logical thing to put in that the Emperor's Children are coming. We've already had Death Guard, we've had Tzeentch, we've had Khorne. Well, we're about to have Khorne with Angron and stuff like that, but we haven't had Slaanesh. So Slaanesh is the next logical step for Games Workshop to introduce with a new codex. And of course, when you introduce Slaanesh, that means there's going to be new Emperor's Children. That means there's going to be Fulgrim Demon model. It all makes sense. I'm not saying that this is going to be at the start of 10th edition. It's probably going to be around at the end of 10th edition like they did with the World Eaters, etc., etc. So maybe something big to end on or something like that. So definitely 110%, I think that Emperor's Children are coming. Do you know what? They're probably already been designed or you know, the stuff's already happening with Emperor's Children somewhere at Games Workshop in a design studio or something like that, because that is how certain I am that this army will be hitting with the next edition. When we come to talk about Chaos as well, one of the biggest talking points for the fandom is Traitor Guard. And I think Traitor Guard is probably one of the easiest ways for Games Workshop to introduce a new force. You basically have the base vehicles for the Traitor Guard, like you have the Baneblades, the Leman Russes, the Chimeras and stuff like that. Yes, they're basically like plain, but maybe sell upgrade kits, you know, spiky upgrade kits and stuff like that, you know, Dark God Sigils, Chaos Stars, just, I don't know, like bodies skinned and stuff you can stick onto the side of it. It's really easy to add Chaos Guard to 10th edition. Yes, of course, they're going to need like dedicated Chaos Guard units, which we've already started to see. You know, we've got like a Chaos Commissar, you know, the Ogryn and stuff like that. They've already basically got some rules and stuff in 9th edition, if I'm not mistaken. Please correct me if I'm wrong on that. But yeah, I would love to see Traitor Guard added, and I think that is a real big possibility that they will be added in 10th edition. Dark Mech is another big possibility. We kind of already have got a little bit of a tease. Again, we haven't had the full model revealed, which we've seen from Games Workshop, but it looks something Dark Mech. It may be a Dark Mech Demon Prince or something like that. Maybe this is like, you know, the first bit of rain before the eventual, you know, typhoon hits, and we get like a full coverage of Dark Mech stuff. Just like the Traitor Guard, I feel like you could really add these in with kind of, you know, using existing models that we already have with the range already. If you just go over to the Forge World shop right now, there's a bunch of stuff on there which is from the Horus Heresy, which technically is still around now, which is probably being used by the Dark Mechanicus and stuff and still being employed by them. So maybe, like I said, upgrade kits added to that, more spiky stuff, and that could be added to the range. That's not just to say that it all should be upgrade kits. Of course, we should be getting like badass, you know, plastic kits and everything like that, which I think if they did invest into, then Games Workshop, I think they would sell very well, because every time we talk about Chaos, there's always a big chunk of you, like in chat, in the streams and stuff, saying Dark Mech, Dark Mech, Dark Mech, and I'm sure it has like a bigger fandom out there on social media and, you know, your local gaming stores and stuff like that. So yeah, I do think it would sell fantastically well. Moving on to Imperium-based factions, and I think we have a bucket load of potential where we can go from here. So let's get this right out the water. Space Marines. Space Marines are always going to get love when it comes to new editions. We're going to get more stuff even before 9th edition is out. You know, Dante, Azrael, the Lion. I'm hearing there's box sets coming, you know, early next year and stuff for Space Marine stuff. There's some stuff that has been rumored on the channel, you know, about the new Dreadnought, the new Rocket guys and stuff like that, which are still not out yet. Maybe they'll be out for 10th edition. We don't really know. But always, Space Marines are going to be getting some love. Now, in terms of what Space Marines are going to be getting in 10th edition, you really just have to look at the range that we have so far. Now, I'm not trying to trigger anyone or anything like that, but the future for 40k is Primaris Marines. That's just the way it's going. All the characters, all the HQs will eventually become Primaris Marines. The Firstborn will be slowly faded out. That's just the business decision that they've taken. Just look at all the characters. I'm not trying to say this to get everyone angry and stuff like that. Just look what Games Workshop's doing. So for the foreseeable future, we're going to have more of that stuff. More of the big characters that haven't crossed the Rubicon Primaris will cross the Rubicon Primaris. Units like the Sanguinary Guard, I think, etc., will be crossing the Rubicon Primaris and be getting all new units dedicated, which are just pure Primaris Marines. Now, if I had to pick a faction that would be getting the love of the Primaris treatment, like something that the Black Templars got in 9th edition, I personally believe it is going to be focused around the Dark Angels in this edition. The reason why I'm saying Dark Angels, because all the big things that are rumored to be coming by the end of 9th edition, I think that's going to flow over and then go into 10th edition as well. And when I say the big things at the end of 9th edition, you know, the Lion, apparently the Lion's like getting a bunch of like bodyguard units and stuff like that. So it makes sense for them to get that kind of treatment that the Black Templars got, and it just does. Again, it could be the Blood Angels. I'd love it to be the Blood Angels. I'm a huge Blood Angel fan. Could be the Space Wolves, as far as I care. It could be someone else. The White Scars, Raven Guard, Ultramarines. Doubt it. I think those chapters, like the Ultramarines, Raven Guard, Imperial Fist, I think they may get new Primaris characters like a Pedro Cantor or something like that. I don't know, Vulcan Hestan or something for the Salamanders. You know, whatever you want for your chapter and stuff. You know, think of the chapter master or a model that you already have and just visualize them as a Primaris Marine, and I think eventually that will come. Maybe not everything in 10th edition, but over time you'll get to see that. Now, just before we move off the subject of Space Marines, I want to dedicate a portion of this video to one of the chapters that I absolutely love, and that is the Grey Knight. I know you can probably argue that a Grey Knight's technically Space Marines. Maybe they're like Space Marines Plus, not Primaris Marines, but, you know, something a little bit more special than Space Marines. You know, they were designed basically to fight Ks and stuff like that. And I really feel like they deserve something big in 10th edition. With everything that's going on with the Great Rift and everything, you know, demons are pouring out of everywhere. You've got Angron coming back. You've got these demonic Primarchs, everything. I really do think the Grey Knights deserve like a big range refresh. Yes, we've just had Castle and Crow, but what about like the Dragos and, you know, all the Grandmasters that are out there? I know, is it Voldus who got a new model at the start of 8th edition and stuff like that? But, you know, maybe like a more updated sculpt and their Terminators, maybe, you know, just a little bit bigger so it brings them up to the scale and everything like that. Maybe new design baby carriers or something. Maybe new vehicles. Maybe access to some of the new vehicles. Maybe they can take repulsor tanks and, you know, Inceptor tanks and, you know, Astraces and, you know, all the armory that, you know, Space Marines have access to. Maybe it's time for them to get access to all that type of stuff as well. So yeah, fingers crossed. If I had to pick a faction for 10th edition to really get the proper Black Templar love, yes, you know, I love Blood Angels, I like Dark Angels, I like Space Wolves and stuff like that, but it actually would be Grey Knights because they are my boys. For those of you who don't know, I actually had a Grey Knight army on the channel to search Valrak Grey Knights, and you can see it. I sold it all off because, you know, I hate the look of it because I paint like a scrub. But yeah, it was great. I love it all, and hopefully they get some love in 10th edition. Now, there has been some rumours with the Imperial Guard. I know we're about to get the big Imperial Guard launched, the brand new box sets coming out. Cadians have all been refreshed. We've just had the Attilian Rough Riders previewed the other day, which again is absolutely fantastic and I love. But there is some rumours out there that are stating that the Imperial Guard are going to be getting even more love. This rumour has always stuck with me because when this big leak happened, someone posted this over on the website on Bolter and Chainsword, and like I think it was like 95% of this came true. And there was two things at the bottom, that there's 2 new Imperial Guard regiments in the works. And when I say in the works. Maybe it's in the design stage or something like that. And I personally believe that those 2 Imperial Guard regiments are going to be Guard regiments that we already know. They're just being redesigned. I think one of them are going to be the Katachan Jungle Fighters, which, again, I absolutely love. Big, muscled, armored troopers of the Imperium just going in, wrecking face, big knives, big red bandanas, you know, what's not to love. And the other regiment is the Death Corps of Krieg. Fan favorite. I've always said they are basically budget Armageddon Steel Legion, which gets a lot of people upset. But you actually came from the Armageddon Steel Legion, so, you know, get good, scrub. If it was me, personally, I'd love to see the Praetorians redone because I'm a huge Praetorian fan. The Vostrians, the Valhallans, the Mordian Iron Guard, all these old school regiments that I grew up on, that I grew reading about, all the models and stuff like that. I would love to see them remade, but I don't think that is going to be, possible from Games Workshop. I think they're just going to do a couple of ranges and flesh those ranges out. That's why I do think it's going to be the Katachans, the Krieg, and the Cadians, which we're about to get now. So hopefully we get a bit more information with that going forward into 10th edition. When it comes to Custodes, maybe Custodes can get a few new units added or something like that. But you know what I really, 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 really want is the Sisters of Silence to be built upon. I am a huge fan of the Sisters of Silence. I'd go to as far as to say that I think the Sisters of Silence are better than the Sisters of Battle. Oh my god, he said it. And I just can't understand why we haven't had more love for the Sisters. They basically have floating rhinos and all this cool old school tech, which is, yet to be shown off on the, well, it's kind of been shown off on the tabletop. It's more Horus Heresy related rather than 40k related. But I really do think that they deserve some more love. I was actually thinking, when they got their codex in 9th edition, it was actually going to be called Talons of the Emperor, because they kind of merged back. That's what the whole story was building up with the Sisters being reintroduced, is that they were merging back with the Custodes, and then it just became the Adeptus Custodi Codex in 9th edition. I was like, oh, okay, so it's basically not the Talons of the Emperor anymore. For those of you who don't know, the Talons of the Emperor are the name for the Sisters and the Custodes who work hand in hand, who protected the Emperor, who did all the things back in the day. So hopefully in 10th edition, the Codex will be actually called Talons of the Emperor, and we can get some more love for the Sisters, more HQ characters, bike riders, jetpack riders and stuff like that for the Sisters. Just more awesome troop options, more elites, more vehicles, more just more awesomeness for the Sisters of Silence, because they really, really, really do deserve it. They are one of the most badass factions in the lore, and I want to see that on the tabletop. Now, let's move on to the Xenos races, because this, of course, is another big talking point, because Xenos races do need their love, and I'm hoping in 10th edition it's where they get their love. Now, I'm starting with the Tyranids, because Tyranids are rumored to be the big launch faction of 10th edition, just like what the Necrons got with 9th edition with that Indomitus Crusade box. Was it called the Indomitus Crusade? But I'm not too sure what the box is called now. Basically, it was Space Marines versus Necrons, and the Silent King came back, and etc, etc. That is what's supposed to be happening with the Tyranids, and I really, really hope that rumor is true, because Tyranids deserve it. I've always said Tyranids are the biggest threat in 40k. Yes, you have orcs and stuff, you have chaos, but if Tyranids come and eat all the humans, chaos dies. Basically when they eat orcs, the orcs can't regenerate and stuff like that, because they wipe the biomass from planets. Nothing's there. It's just rocks, and it's just empty rocks and stuff. So they are basically like the end game when it comes to 40k lore. So we all better start banding up and fighting them together, which is never going to happen, of course. So yeah, if that does happen and they get a bunch of new models, I'm really going to be excited for you Tyranid players. They deserve new models, like the Gene Stealers, and some of the HQ units are really showing their age now. So you definitely deserve a nice little refresh on that range. When it comes to other ranges like the Orcs, let's just go for the Orcs, for example. I don't think you're going to be getting any love with the Orcs for a long time. We've just had the Beast Snaggers. We've just had a new Gad Skull, new boys, etc. Everything like that. You're probably going to be waiting now for another 5 to 10 years for maybe another big Orc update. I'm probably going to say they will maybe get a couple of HQ characters here and there, but in terms of big stuff, big stuff, I think we are going to be waiting for a bit. I really do think Dark Eldar may be the big faction for the Xenos that get the love after the Tyranids, possibly. There's always a talk about Vect coming back. Like, Dark Eldar players, you'll probably tell me this right now. When you look at everyone's ranges, everyone really has that big character. You've got Gilliman for like the Space Marines, you know, Valoris, you know, just Gaz Skull, for example, the Silent King for the Necrons. When you look at the Dark Eldar, they don't really have everyone, and Vec's always been slung around, so maybe they can actually make a Vec model and come out with some big stuff and actually just show us like the potential of the Dark Eldar. Moving on to Eldar, I think we have a few possibilities with the Eldar. Again, I am hearing a few things within the whispers of the warp. I don't know how true these are, so again, take this with as much salt as you can. I've heard that the Corsair range is going to be built upon, which, if true, I'd like to see some more stuff of that. I thought the models that they released for the Corsairs looked pretty cool. I don't know what they could add. Eldar players, you tell me what they could add to the Corsair range. Another thing I've heard as well is Exodites. Exodites possibly getting some love for the Eldar, which is basically Eldar riding dinosaurs, which it sounds cool and it absolutely looks cool. All the artwork I've seen of Exodites looks absolutely amazing. So if they manage to pull that off in some type of like big range where you like, you know, you got like these big dinosaurs added to the tabletop, I really do think it would look fantastic and just be like a really big eye-opener. Who wouldn't want to fight dinosaurs? Eldar riding dinosaurs. I think that would be a great option to add to the Eldar race. When it comes to the Tau, I really have no idea. I'm sorry, Tau players. I don't really follow the Tau that much. I know I'm memed on the channel for being Tau rack and stuff like that. I have heard that the Tau are going to be getting some love towards the end of 9th edition with, what's he called? Farsight, I think, if I'm not mistaken. I think that's what the character is. Maybe they can base something around Farsight. Apparently, he hates the Tau as much as I hate the Tau, which is kind of strange. The enemy of my enemy is my friend. I don't really know. If you have got any suggestions for where they can go with the Tau, what they can add with the Tau, then I would be, you know, open all ears. I'd hear it. Post it down below in the comment section, and we can have a nice little talk down there. Now, just want to talk about what possible armies, new armies, we could have, which basically exist, maybe don't exist already in Warhammer 40,000. I would love to get some ideas from you chaps on this. The really only thing that I would possibly like to see, and this is like a new army, so an army that has not existed before, brand new lore, brand new everything. I would like another human-based faction, but hear me out. Oh no, it's humans again, Valrak. A human-based faction that doesn't swear allegiance to the Emperor and doesn't swear allegiance to Chaos. Basically an independent faction of space. Maybe, I don't know, maybe something happened and they've only just been discovered and they have all this type of tech. Think of it like the early days of, you know, the Dark Age of technology. They kept all of this technology. They can go toe-to-toe with the Imperium. They can go toe-to-toe with Chaos, other Xenos races, stuff like that. Something that just doesn't swear allegiance to the Imperium or Chaos, because that's kind of what we have now. If you're human, you're basically, all right, it's for the Dark Gods or it's for the Emperor kind of thing, which, you know, can get kind of boring. So maybe like a faction which doesn't have that, and they basically have their own beliefs, their own systems, and, you know, whatever. They maybe have their own gods. Who knows? Maybe they don't believe in gods. Maybe they're, you know, they're just like, you know, we believe in ourselves kind of thing. I think that could be pretty cool. And then you can introduce like a bunch of new tech, new vehicles, which we haven't seen before. Like I said, if you start introducing races like the Leagues of Votann, we kind of really know what they had. Well, I say we know what they had. I would say the new range completely wasn't something I was thinking that was going to be reintroduced, so kind of that argument is invalid on this one. But yeah, I would love to get your thoughts and feedback on that. If you were to pick like a new race to be added, like a brand new race which, you know, hasn't had any models before or anything like that into the tabletop game, what would that race be? Right, enough waffling from me. Thank you for coming. Thank you for watching this video. As always, put your thoughts, feedback, comments, everything like that down below in the comment section, and I'll speak to you down there. See you in a bit. Have a great day, and bye-bye.